On this week's episode of A Dryer Dose of Disney, Jared talks about shopping at the parks and calls out specific places to go.
Welcome to this week's episode of A Dryer Dose of Disney. I'm your host, Jared Dryer, and today we are going to be talking more about shopping at the theme parks. Now, if you listen to our previous episode about shopping where we invited special guest Betty from Betty Says, Betty gave us some really great tips and tricks about going to the parks, finding the merchandise that you're looking for. She even talked to us about placement within the products and when to buy things and the whole 9 yards. That is a great episode, and I want to refer you back to that episode if you haven't listened to it yet. But in addition to that episode, today we're going to be going through the different parks. What kind of stores can you expect, and where do you really find the merchandise that you're looking for? But before we dive into the shopping episode for today, I do want to ask, wherever you're listening to us, if that's in podcast format or if you're out on YouTube watching our video format, please click pause and go down and click that subscribe button. So that way you're going to get this content delivered into your inbox each and every single week, and you're going to get the latest tips and tricks. And then in addition to that, if you find any of these tips or tricks that save you money or save you time or make your life easier when you're planning your next Disney vacation, we do ask for you to support us over at Patreon. You can find that down in the links below. And by being a $5 subscriber, you get access to a lot of premium content there. And that keeps this podcast going each and every month. So we want to say thank you to each and every one of you. So today we're going to be talking about shopping. And as we talk about shopping, there's nothing better than a Disney vacation or Universal vacation and making all the wonderful memories with your friends and family, riding all the rides and having such a great time with one another. And the way you're going to be able to take that home with you is through the things that you purchase in the parks that you then take home to remember your vacation. So whether that is a Spirit jersey, a shirt, a hat, pin, and we'll talk about pins on another episode as well, or some other merchandise that you get through the Disney or Universal parks, you're taking that piece of the parks home with you. So we absolutely love shopping for souvenirs. We love shopping for the different items that you can find in the park. And there are so many wonderful items out there. In fact, if you're watching us on video, you see some of that behind me. We've decorated our house with different Disney items. We use different Disney home goods through our condo out there in Orlando. So the silverware, we've got art up everywhere. So we love buying merchandise out there at the Disney and Universal parks. In fact, a lot of the clothing that we own is from that as well. So today I'm wearing my Star Wars shirt that says, I know. So if you're not familiar with Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back, Princess Leia tells Han Solo, I love you. And his response is, I know, as he's lowered into the chamber to get doused with carbonite and to be frozen so that he can be taken back to Jabba the Hutt. So my shirt is Han Solo with the Millennium Falcon, and it says, I know, on the bottom of it. And we love having shirts that match when we go to the parks so that we can wear them for our photos and all that fun stuff. And they go great on Christmas cards, and it really helps us create those memories. So we know that shopping is an important part of any trip to any Disney or Universal park. So today we're going to take you through each of the parks. We're going to talk about the different shopping you can do, where you should find some stuff, and what you should be really looking for depending on your interest. But today I'm going to go out of order. I'm going to actually start with our I Can Do This All Day tip of the day. And that's the same one that we gave on the episode with Betty from Betty Says. And that is when you find something in the parks that you absolutely love and you think that this is a really cool item, you want to buy it. And the reason I say that is though you may still see it somewhere else and you may think, I don't know if I want to buy it quite yet, there is a really high probability that you may not see that again, especially if it's a clothing item and you found it in your size. So we'll talk about that more as we go through. I'm going to share a couple stories with you along the way of times that we missed out on some merchandise that we absolutely loved and we wish we would have bought it. And it took us years to either find it or we never did find it at all. And I've got examples of both of those today. So we're going to be taking you through all the different parks. We're going to talk about the different shopping. But where I want to start is all of the Disney parks and even the Universal parks. They have their main stores towards the front of the park. So what we would say, quote unquote, is on Main Street. At the Disneyland park or at the Magic Kingdom, obviously you've got Main Street and they've got shops on both sides of it. And these shops are continuous, meaning you can walk into one and you can walk all the way through Main Street by going shop to shop. And you can see everything from the clothing and the home goods to the hats and the Mickey ears and all the different fun things you can purchase at the Disney parks. And likewise, over at Universal, they also have their stores up towards the front of their parks, as well as they also have stores in City Walk, which is a really cool feature. So if you see something really cool and maybe you forgot about it, but now you're going through City Walk, you can still have a chance to get it before your day is done and before you leave that park site. We definitely encourage you to go check out those stores, but those stores, for the most part, are going to have many of the same items, meaning that popular Spirit jersey. In fact, we have one. My daughter wanted the pink fluffy one that's been out there for about the last 18 months or so. And we see that every single time we go at every single park, because that's one of those items that they have stocked unanimously at all of their stores. But you're going to find those kind of things at every single park. So if it's one of those, then if you wanted to wait, you probably could. But like Betty said in her episode, if you have a specific size you're looking for and you find your size, you're better off buying it then. And know that if you need to, as long as you leave the tags on it and you have your receipt, you can always return it if you ever need to, if you decide later that it's something you didn't want. But those stores are going to be very much the same. Whether you're at Magic Kingdom, Hollywood Studios, or you're at Disney Springs going through the world of Disney, you're going to find those same kind of items at those stores. Now, we'll talk Disney Springs and Downtown Disney here in just a little bit and get a little more specific into their stores. But I wanted to point out that at all of your Disney parks and your Universal parks, you're walking in, you're going to see these main stores out there that are going to have a lot of the general merchandise items. Those are great for when you want to find that shirt or that Spirit jersey like we were just talking about. If you want to get specific and you're looking for something specific to a character or specific to a movie, you're probably not going to find it in those stores unless it's a really hot item for a new release movie. You're going to have to go to those specific stores or specific lands within the parks to find those, especially Star Wars. So that's why I wore my Star Wars shirt today, is to remind me to talk about Star Wars as we go through the Hollywood Studios park. So we're going to start today in Orlando at the Magic Kingdom. And obviously this is the flagship park that everyone thinks about. And you've got, like we said, all of your Main Street stores that have all of your cool shirts and sweatshirts and coats and hats and Mickey ears and your home goods. We say definitely you want to hit those. We always try to hit those on the end of the day as we're leaving the park, just because we're a little bit slower, we're a little bit tired towards the end of the day. And it's a great way to just shuffle your way up towards the front of the park while still getting that Disney magic and enjoying it. And then you don't have to carry your stuff with you all day. Now, you do run the risk if you're looking for something specific. You may want to hit it first thing in the morning in case it's freshly out on the shelves and it sells out during the day. But for the most part, Disney keeps their shops very well stocked, and you're going to be able to find it on the way out. Now, as you go through the Magic Kingdom park, I like to think about it like going counterclockwise through a circle. We usually head over into Adventureland, and in Adventureland, you're going to get stores that are going to be tied to things like Pirates of the Caribbean, which is one of my favorite stores at Magic Kingdom. Now, that is over by the Pirates ride, but in that store, they've got a lot of pirate gear, but they also have Indiana Jones gear, and I love Indiana Jones. So that is a great store if you're looking for pirate gear or Indiana Jones stuff, is to go over to the Pirates of the Caribbean ride, and it's right at the exit right there. As you work your way around the park, you're going to come up by Colonial America. They've got a really cool Christmas store, so if you like Christmas ornaments and buying that, you can definitely go there. But right next to it over by Haunted Mansion, they have Madame Leota's. Now, this is a smaller store that does have Haunted Mansion gear. And I will say I have found stuff in Madame Leota's that I have not seen anywhere else in the park. So if you love Haunted Mansion and that's your favorite ride, you definitely want to head over to that store and find stuff in there. Again, back to our tip of the day, if you find something you absolutely love, chances are you're not going to find it anywhere else in the park. So you may want to buy it at that point in time. Now, as you go up into Fantasyland, has multiple stores by each of the rides. And then up north, up towards the top by Gaston's Tavern, they also have an art store, which is a really cool store because I love the Disney art. So you can check out all of that as you walk around through Fantasyland, but those are usually going to be tied to the ride. So for example, there's a store right next to Winnie the Pooh, and it's going to have all of your Pooh Corner characters. Outside of that, when you go over by the circus by Dumbo, there's some cool stores over there that are tied to the circus and tied to that Fantasyland type atmosphere. So that's a really fun place to go. It is tucked away towards the back, but there's some really cool stuff back there. And then when you wrap your way around into Tomorrowland, they've got a store over by Space Mountain at the exit that has a lot of Star Wars stuff. So if you love Star Wars and you want to check it out at Magic Kingdom, you want to head over into Tomorrowland towards Space Mountain where they have the exit there. So really cool stuff you can get over there. But that's about it for your specialty shops. There are tons of carts around. There are tons of other little stores. So we like to poke our head into every single one to see if there's something different or unique we can find. But those were the ones worth calling out at the Magic Kingdom. So if you love Star Wars, Pirates of the Caribbean, Indiana Jones Haunted Mansion, you're going to want to go check those out. Next on the list, let's go to Epcot. And Epcot is a totally unique shopping experience. So I really want to be specific when I talk about Epcot to say there are 4 distinct festivals that happen throughout the year. And at all 4 festivals, you're going to see totally different merchandise across the park at Epcot. So do know that when you're coming there, the merchandise at Epcot changes very frequently and very often. And there's always going to be the time that you're going to see something you love and it's not going to be there the next day. That happened to us. Last year, we were there during the Flower and Garden Festival. My wife found a Mickey topiary she really liked a lot. She wanted to think about it just a little bit and knew we were going to be back the next week, so she didn't buy it. The next week when we came back, the Flower and Garden Festival was over. They went to Food and Wine, and at that point, the topiary was gone. And so we scoured the park. We looked everywhere. We couldn't find it to save our lives. So that is a topiary that is forever lost and hidden away from us. And we will only have the memory of it going forward. So that is one that we say we should have bought it back then when we first saw it. And back to our tip of the day, if you see something you love, buy it because there's no guarantee it'll be there the next day, especially at Epcot. Now, in addition to that, like I said, there are 4 festivals. So it starts the year with the Arts Festival. That is my favorite one. As you go around the World Showcase, they have tents with different artwork from different artists all the way around the World Showcase. And we absolutely love it. In fact, we got some really great paintings this last year for our condo down there in Orlando, and they have awesome merchandise. Now, the Arts Festival usually lasts about 4 or 5 weeks. So if you don't get down there during the Arts Festival, you're going to miss that opportunity to see all that unique art and maybe buy that. But we encourage you, if you can go during that time of year, it is totally worth it. It's our favorite time of year at Epcot, and it's just awesome. After the Arts Festival, they do the Flower and Garden Festival, which is what we were just talking about a moment ago. That runs through most of the spring into the early summer months. And then once summer hits, you're going to jump over to the Food and Wine Festival. The Food and Wine Festival is our absolute favorite time of the year. And that is just because the food is phenomenal and they have stands everywhere throughout the park. So we love to go there and try it all out. Now, like I said earlier, the Arts Festival is my personal favorite, but as a family, we love the Food and Wine Festival just because of all the great food. I will call out, if you listen to the episode where we talked about Epcot and all the great things to eat, you definitely want to go during Food and Wine. And if you get over there during Food and Wine, head into Canada and go down into the orchard, and you're going to get the best drink you've ever had in your life with the Apple Blossom Sky. You want to go check that out. And then in the late part of the year, from Thanksgiving till the end of the year, they do their holiday festival. And obviously there's a lot of holiday gear that you can find out there and holiday food. So when you go to Epcot, depending on the festival, you're going to have different merchandise that you can buy. Not to mention, when you go through the World Showcase, each country throughout the world has their own gear that you can buy. So you're going to want to check all that out. If you have a favorite city in the world, or you really love a certain part of Europe, or you love a certain country, you want to go check it out and go look at that specific land. And you're going to find lots of really cool things to buy there. So Epcot is totally unique. Now, when you've worked your way around the World Showcase, at the base of it are 2 different ports, and those have your typical Disney type merchandise. So you're going to want to go check those out. In one of them, they do have some Marvel gear just due to the new Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind ride at Epcot. So if you're looking for Marvel stuff, it is in one of those 2 ports. And then on the main bottom area where all the different lands are where you can do the rides, you do have Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind. They do have a store there that is specific just to the Guardians of the Galaxy. But then you've got obviously the Living Seas. You've got some cool Nemo stuff and Crush stuff for Turtle Talk over there. You've got Living with the Land, Figment. You've got Test Track, which has a whole Chevy lineup in its basement. So if you like Chevy vehicles, I love the Corvette. Go check that out. And then Mission Space as well. In the center area where they're building right now, the new water attraction for Moana, they've also got a store over there that has your general Disney stuff. So we definitely encourage you to go check that out if you're looking just for the general Disney items. They do have throughout that store some high-end stuff. some jewelry. They've got the Dooney purses. They've got a lot of different items within that store. It's a very large store, so you're going to want to check that out over there. But Epcot, like I said, totally unique over there. Next, let's go to Hollywood Studios. This is for your Star Wars lovers. So if you love Star Wars, Hollywood Studios is the park for you. Now, in the main area where the street crossroads are, you've got lots of stores there, lots of shopping. Included in there, they do have a specific Star Wars store that has a lot of the Star Wars clothing. They do have a small little Indiana Jones section. They used to have, one of my favorite stores was an actual Indiana Jones store over by the Indiana Jones Stunt Spectacular. I hope they bring it back, but the last few times we've been there, it's been locked and closed. And I think they've moved it all into that Star Wars store in the main center area. But there are stores on both sides of the street. They do have some Pixar stuff because obviously you have Toy Story Land at Hollywood Studios. But the general main area for shopping is going to have a lot of cool stuff. So you're definitely going to want to check that out. But let's talk about going through the park and finding some other stuff as you work your way through. Like I said, if you love Star Wars, you're going to want to head over towards Star Tours. And they have the large AT-AT out front, but there's a Star Wars store in there for the exit of Star Tours. And they've got a ton of Star Wars gear in there, and it's really cool. Next to that area, you're going over by Muppets 4D down in the pizza area. So it's set up like New York. They've got some cool Muppet stores in there and some cool items back in that area. So if you like that, go check it out. But when you leave that area and you walk through the tunnel, you are now back in the Black Spire Outpost. There is Star Wars stuff everywhere. They've got stands. They've got stores. They've got obviously Droid Depot where you can build a droid. You can do your lightsaber factory. You've got a store that is dedicated to the First Order of the bad guys over in the new series of films. They've got all kinds of stuff back there. So you're going to definitely want to check it all out and visit all the different areas in Black Spire. In fact, in the center of Black Spire Outpost over by Ronto Roasters, there's a little hallway that has stores for the animals of Star Wars or some of the other kid items. So that's a really fun area. So definitely go check that all out. But know that the majority of your Star Wars stuff is going to be at Hollywood Studios, either between the Star Tour store, the Black Spire Outpost, or that clothing store up in the front section. So anytime that you're at Hollywood Studios, if you find something Star Wars that you love, or you've looked for something and you found something that you like, I would encourage you, buy it. Chances are you're not going to find that again, even at the other stores or at Downtown Disney or Disney Springs, depending on which coast you're at. So you're definitely going to want to buy that Star Wars stuff there. When you leave Star Wars area, you are in Toy Story Land. There aren't a lot of great stores in Toy Story Land. There is one store at the exit of Midway Mania, but it's all the way inside the ride, so you're not going to see it from the main walkway. When you ride Midway Mania, you're going to go through it on your way out, so you can pick up some Toy Story stuff there. They've got some carts out that you can find some Toy Story stuff. And then out in the main shopping area, they do have one store that's dedicated more towards that Pixar stuff. So you're going to see Toy Story, Monsters U, and all that through that store area over there. So go check those out. But again, not anything specific to Toy Story or Pixar other than Midway Mania. And then the final store that I like to talk about at Hollywood Studios is over at the exit to Tower of Terror. They've got the obviously Tower of Terror themed, also Haunted Mansion type stuff in there. That one's really cool as well if you're a fan of that. And then they've got the Rock and Roller Coaster with the Aerosmith stuff if you like the rock band. So cool shopping to do over at Hollywood Studios, but a lot of it's geared towards Star Wars between all their Star Wars lands over there. Finally, that brings me over to Animal Kingdom. Again, on Discovery Island, right after you walk in, they've got stores on either side. They do have different items, so you're going to want to check out both sides. But these are those stores that continue on and on like Main Street does over at Magic Kingdom. But they've got a lot of clothing on one side. They've got home goods on the other. And those are two great stores on Discovery Island. Outside of that, Pandora has got their own store at the exit of Flight of Passage. That's where you're going to get the Banshees that move and can ride on your shoulders. Those are really cool. But a lot of unique stuff for Avatar over there in Pandora. When you go to the back of the park, you've got Africa and Asia that, similar to Epcot, have a lot of the artifacts and cool things from their countries that they're going to sell you there. So if you like that kind of stuff from Africa and Asia, definitely go check those stores out. They've got a lot of really unique items, but again, you're not going to find that at any other Disney park. So you're going to want to buy it when you find it back there. And then when you work your way around the park, you're going to wind up over in the Dinosaur Land. And in Dinosaur Land, they've got a lot of kids stuff over there for Dinosaur. and the kids love it over there. So definitely you're going to want to take the kids to go check it out. But that's some cool stuff there too. I will say out of the 4 Disney parks, Animal Kingdom probably has the least amount of shopping. And that's mostly due to the fact that they just have so many cool animal tours and expeditions you can do as you walk through the park that they use their real estate for that instead of all the stores. So as you make your way through the park, definitely check those out as well. But do know that you're going to see less shopping at Animal Kingdom than you will at the other 3 parks. Let's hop over into Disney Springs now. And Disney Springs has some really unique callouts. Let me start by saying, though, they are an outdoor mall, so they have tons of just regular stores, everything from like Columbia to Harley Davidson, or some jewelry stores or some specialty boutiques are throughout Disney Springs. The callouts that I want to give you, though, are first, the World of Disney. This is the large flagship Disney store in the Orlando area. It's a huge store with lots of different sections as you walk through it. They're going to have pretty much all of your hats, your ears, your spirit jerseys, your home goods. They also have all of the 100-year anniversary and the 50 years of Disney World stuff out right now. Now that'll go away in time as they move on to a different celebration. But they also have sections for Marvel. They have sections for Star Wars. They've got a lot of really cool things. So if you're ever looking for something specific, World of Disney is probably the first place I would go check out when you go to Disney Springs. When you leave the World of Disney, this next store I want to call out is the Co-op. The Co-op is phenomenal. They have so many really unique stores in there, including a vintage Disney store up front that has a lot of the old ride stuff. They've got some boutiques through there. And then in the back, they've got some really cool, unique clothing items. And my wife loves that store in the back part of the Co-op. So definitely go check that out. When you leave the Co-op, they have a Disney toy store right there that has all of the games and the cool things the little kids like. So you're going to want to look for that. And then they have a Star Wars store not too far away from there. So a lot of cool merchandise in there. There is a pin trader over there, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about pin trading because I'm going to do a full episode on pin trading. So if you love pin trading and you want to learn more, definitely tune into that episode. But behind all that, you have another Christmas store with a lot of the ornaments. And behind that, you have the Art of Disney, which is my favorite store at every Disney park combined, is the Art of Disney here. And the reason is I just absolutely love all the artwork. And I will say, if you see something you like, buy it because it'll be gone. Those artworks transition that are up on the wall almost daily. In fact, there have been multiple times I've been in there looking at art. I see something I like and they're taking it down because somebody just bought it and they're going to replace it in the next day or so with something different. The Art of Disney is a really cool store in the back corner. When you work your way through the rest of Disney Springs, so there's a lot of restaurants through the middle. You have Gideon's, you have a lot of cool things throughout there. On the other side, so now we're over by the AMC and the bowling, there is another Star Wars store, there's a Marvel store, and then there's kind of a trendy Disney store over there as well. So those are really good call outs that we like to hit every single time that we're there. But Disney Springs has a lot of unique shopping and a lot of cool things, so you definitely want to check that all out. Let's hop over to the West Coast real quick. Disneyland, California Adventure. Obviously, a lot of the same thing we've already talked about where all the shopping is on the main streets or close to the entrances. Over at California Adventure, you also have Pixar Pier, where now you get to see more of your Pixar stuff. So we encourage you to check that out. There's a lot of shopping down there. And then you've got the new Marvel Avengers campus. There is a little bit of shopping there, but it's mostly geared towards Spider-Man. They don't have a larger store there yet for that, but you can find stuff in the main shopping area of California Adventure. But a lot of cool things over there. Over at the Disneyland park, obviously, you've got all your Main Street, all the Tomorrowland and Frontierland stuff we talked about earlier. But that's where the Black Spire Outpost is, and that's where you're going to find your Star Wars stuff, is in the back of that park as well. So not much difference from what I talked about in Orlando. So you can listen to the Orlando part and get most of what you're going to see at Disneyland. Now let's take a look at Universal. So Universal obviously has 2 parks in Orlando. They're going to be opening a 3rd here real soon. Lots of really cool shopping and a lot of things that I want to call out. Now, similar to Disney, they have their main shop at the front of the park, and this is going to have everything from Simpsons to Harry Potter to the Cat in the Hat, the Jaws, Back to the Future. You're going to find all that stuff in these main stores as you go in. As a matter of fact, most of the Harry Potter stuff is very consistent throughout the parks, and you will have Harry Potter lands in both parks in Orlando. So you're going to have the sweaters, you're going to have the Gryffindor, Slytherin type stuff, the ties, the lanyards, and all that at all of the stores that you're going to find there. Now, there are some unique items with Harry Potter that you can find in each of the Harry Potter lands. Maybe it's a chess set, or maybe you want to get a special book or that book of monsters. They also have a store dedicated just to the animals that you're going to see through Harry Potter in one of the lands there. So go check that out. But for the most part, the Harry Potter stuff is very consistent. Simpsons Land obviously has some great Simpsons stuff. So we encourage you to go to the Quickie Mart, go check some of that stuff out there. That is a lot of fun. And then back behind it, you've got the Men in Black over at Universal Studios Florida. My favorite store is over by the Bourne Stunt Show, which is the best show at Universal. So go check that out. But as you come out of it, you're not only going to see Jason Bourne stuff, but they have the movie monster stuff. So I love the classic monsters: Frankenstein, Wolfman, Dracula, the Creature from the Black Lagoon, the Mummy, the Invisible Man. They've got a really cool store there that has a lot of that stuff. And then over by the Mummy ride, they also have it there too. But I love that kind of stuff. But I love the classic monsters. And so Universal's got that. Over by the E.T. ride, they have an E.T. store that has a lot of the old stuff. So your classic E.T., but you can also sometimes find Back to the Future and Jaws stuff in that ride because it's tied to the 80s. So E.T. stuff, go to the E.T. ride. Hopefully that sticks around for a long time, but you may find some other things there. On the other side of Universal Orlando, they have the wharf area over by kind of the Fast and the Furious rides. And by there, they've got a store that's dedicated just to the vintage stuff. So you're talking King Kong, Back to the Future, Jaws, E.T., all those classic Universal rides over there. And that's one of my favorite stores in the entire park, because not only do they have the t-shirts and the cool things tied to those rides, but they also have the movie posters that are signed. They've got the figurines that may be signed. They've got the little pieces of film in the frame next to the picture of what it is that may be signed. So go check those all out. That's a lot of fun to go to that store as well. So that's the most part for Universal Orlando. Going over to Islands of Adventure, you're going to get totally different stuff over there. So with them, they've got their different islands around the park there. So you've got Marvel Island that has a ton of Marvel stuff. That is all really cool. So we encourage you, if you love Marvel, that's going to be the best place to find that kind of stuff. As you work your way around the park, you also have Jurassic Park Island. That's got a lot of the dinosaur stuff, especially at the River Journey ride exit. They've got a really good store there for dinosaur stuff. And then you get over into the Harry Potter land, which we talked a little bit about at Islands of Adventure. And then as you come around, you've got the Lost Continent and you've got the Cat in the Hat area, or Dr. Seuss Island. So lots of really cool merchandise, but it's all going to be very specific to those islands as you work your way around the park. As you come out of the park, again, they have their main stores that have the whole conglomerate of everything. And that's really cool and a great way to see everything all at once if you wanted to do that. When you exit the park and you're in City Walk, I do want to make one specific call out. They have a vintage shop in City Walk that, again, has all the old ride stuff, as well as they have some of the newer stuff. But they've really got a good selection of everything from Jaws to Back to the Future to even Shrek items, because obviously they have the Shrek experience there. They've got Simpsons stuff in that store, Harry Potter stuff in that store, but they definitely geared it towards the old vintage Universal Studios. So you'll want to go check that out as well. So that's a lot of shopping. Sorry, I was talking really fast about all the different parks and all the different places. Out in Hollywood, it's not much different. Know that you've got obviously the different lands, the different shops as you go through, but it's same kind of thing at Universal Hollywood is they've got the main shop towards the front of the park where you're going to find the majority of the stuff. Let me recap though, again, the I can do this all day tip of the day, which is if you see something you like and it's in your size, especially if it's a clothing item, buy it. Do not wait. You're probably not going to find it later, or if you do, you may not find the right size. If it's something that's common that you're going to see everywhere, like the Mickey ears or lanyard, you may be able to wait on those kind of things. But if it's something specific or unique, like over at Pirates of the Caribbean, or maybe it's something in Star Wars land or Harry Potter land, buy it. You're going to want to make sure that you get that right then so you can take it home. And then if you ever needed to, you could always return it as long as you bring it back with the receipt. And that's the best part about Disney Springs, Downtown Disney, and City Walk is they have all those stores available to you to do that. With that, we hope that you have a magical week when you're planning your next vacation. If you have anything specific you're looking for or any questions about shopping, you can find us at A Dryer Dose of Disney on Facebook, or go back to our Betty Says episode, and Betty's got her information in the links there. where you can email her, and she's a professional shopper, and she will go find those items for you and get those sent to you. So a lot of really cool opportunities to get stuff that you may not have found otherwise. And we want to say, make sure when you see it, you buy it, because you may not see it later. So we'll talk to you guys next time. Bye-bye.